Sonic has been a constant throughout pretty much my entire life. I found out about him through a random bit in a Gmod video of all things.
Got places to go, gotta follow my
This is no joke how I discovered Sonic, and ever since then I've been a pretty big fan. I like most of the games, and despite how critical I am of the franchise, that doesn't mean I don't love it. Quite the opposite. This franchise is very special to me, and if anything, I've grown to love the franchise more after I began to become critical. Funny how that works, huh? My thoughts and opinions have changed significantly within the past year or so, and plenty of games I thought I loved, I only sort of just like now, or flat out don't like at all. But something about becoming more critical of this franchise is that when there's something in there you really like, it hits. Around a year ago, I was converted into the ways of Sonic CD. Before that point, always seeing it as this confusing, maze-like annoying piece of shit with incomprehensible level design that hinders all traversal. We are very obviously past that point. This is a game that I deem to be nearly perfect. The worst thing it does is poorly tutorialize mechanics, but they're not that hard to grasp at all once you hear them once. The future signs are obstacles? Oh, yeah, that does make sense, doesn't it? I find this game, and by extension, its level design to be the greatest out of the Sonic series, and there's a lot of reasons why, but above all, I think I have one reason that I find to be the most important and the most special to me. Freedom. Sonic CD is a funny little game, isn't it? Not a lot of people truly understand it, and I think a lot of people who say they do, don't. But I'm the smartest person ever, which means I do understand it and can articulate just why I love the gameplay, level design, and freedom this game provides. The levels in CD are nothing short of perfection, and they personify that feeling of freedom that Sonic's all about throughout the gameplay itself. I hear a lot of people saying, I wish there was a game that played just like the CD intro, and I just have to say, bro, the game in question is Sonic CD. What, you think they put that intro of the game because they thought it was cool? It's fucking awesome, but that's besides the point. People don't realize how truly indicative this intro is of the actual game. Taking a look at the intro, what's this little chud up to, huh? He's traversing these ordinary environments in extraordinary ways by using nothing but his own 2 feet. We see him turn things like trees into loops. We see him leap from large rock to large rock. He's bouncing and redirecting his speed off of these rock formations popping out of the ground. We see him use these small divots in the ground as a loop. You get the picture. At the end, he rolls down this giant mountain. All of this reflects CD's gameplay. We see Sonic traverse this land in really cool ways, all by interacting with his environment. I mean, even simple shit like him rolling down the mountain, that's literally just rolling downhill to gain speed put into an official animation. This intro is doing more than just looking great, it's essentially showing you what you could be capable of. In Sonic CD, the best, most efficient, and most importantly, most fun way to traverse these levels is by being in tune with your environment and engaging with it on a moment-to-moment basis. You're just doing what Sonic was doing in the intro when you boil it down. Now quickly, if you do enjoy, like and subscribe, it helps a ton. If you want to go the extra mile, my Patreon is in the link in the description where you can get early access to videos. But let's keep going. This game is the most the franchise has ever taken advantage of Sonic's slope physics, as nearly the entire game is built around this. Very rarely will you run into an area that lacks varied terrain. There are always opportunities lurking in the stages, it's just up for you to discover them. Slope jumps, wall jumps, every little move that's done by maneuvering Sonic at different states and speeds is key to playing the game like you can in the intro. When you do this, when you and your environment become one, you reach a flow state that very few Sonic games can replicate, and the freedom that none can. The world is your fucking oyster, man. Never are you limited in what you can do. Like I said prior, there is always an opportunity to play better by interacting with your environment, and this leads to a completely unrivaled sense of freedom. You can soar through certain parts of this game, and I don't mean like in a bad way, like you're just all mindlessly skipping over the level, flying over it or anything. No, it's nothing like that. The game is balanced around this and often rewards you for experimenting with Sonic's physics. Run up any wall and jump at high speeds, and I bet you 99% of the time, you keep holding whatever direction you jumped at, there will be some sort of platform, path, or reward waiting for you there. It's a deliberate acknowledgement of player expression and only aids in this sense of freedom. I feel free in these levels. I feel unstoppable. I feel like a force of nature. This doesn't mean that these levels are like all very easy or easy to get really good at. It just means that there's this extra feeling that you get when playing well that I don't find in many other Sonic games. It really does just feel like the intro. When I'm playing well here, I feel like Sonic from that intro. When you watch that intro, you could certainly think, man, That guy is so fucking cool. The way he's traversing this place, the way he just can't be stopped because anything that may seem to be a roadblock or obstacle, he treats as an opportunity because he's that synced up with the ground he runs on. You may not have thought that exactly, but you probably did subconsciously, at least in some way. That is the biggest descriptor of the feeling I get when playing these levels. I feel like I'm on top of the world and nothing can bring me down. There's something special about the environmental interactions in this game. It's the most the environments in a Sonic game have ever acted like extensions of your moveset in a way. To do a lot of shit like slope jumping or wall jumping, you're gonna need help from the level itself. This could be a reach, but I feel like this plays into the smaller themes of CD. The levels in the game, despite what a lot of people may think, are trying to help you. They've got their hand out for you, and it's up for you to reach back out and grab it with your own. The environment in this game is helping you, it's assisting you, and once you realize that, everything changes. This harmony between Sonic and Little Planet is not me reaching that far or making stuff up. Little Planet loves Sonic. It respects him, and it's especially evident by its final moments above Neverlake, as right before its disappearance, it shows us the face of the planet's savior as one last thank you. I interpret Sonic and Little Planet as a force of nature coming in contact with Mother Nature itself, and while I'm not nearly as smart enough to go in any more depth on my feelings on that, I think you can at least get a vague idea. Now, something else about CD is how you actually play it, because it's quite different, and I think this causes a lot of Sonic fans to struggle to truly grasp it, even if they understand the baseline explanation of it has a stronger focus on exploration. Now, before I continue on that topic, this is not a sponsor or anything, I didn't really know how to fit this in a natural way, but I thought I'd talk about it. It's flaws that are given or attributed to CD, or rather, ones I attribute to it. I think CD's biggest flaw is how it fails to tutorialize the player on what it is. You have the basic idea of going to the past to break robot generators, which is rather self-explanatory. However, I feel like it fails to communicate what the best way of traversal is. In Sonic CD, but by simply engaging with the environment without stopping to search for every nook and cranny, you will find the robot generators. However, people, when searching for them initially, tend to try to ignore certain movement opportunities and attempt to be as thorough as possible in finding the generators. The thing is, you can explore at pretty high speeds, and as a new player, you'll be able to find them. But people don't know this, partly because CD doesn't really tell them that it's okay to be flung around and go off the course you yourself wanted to go through. Now, while this is partly on the player, I feel, I think it's also fair to give CD a little bit of criticism for not really telling you this. How would it do that? How would it tell you? I'm not sure, but it's something to note. And aside from this, I think it can tutorialize certain things from certain levels poorly. The main example is this thing that crushes you in Wacky Workbench that you need to get a generator. Now, the game does give you hints via the environment that you're able to do this. However, this is something admittedly easy to miss, and I can't blame people for not picking this up. This game and how you're supposed to engage with it is also not helped by the fact that CD is very much a one-off in this franchise. You don't play it like you do any other Sonic game, and so I find it hard to fully blame people for not engaging with it in the way it's quote-unquote supposed to be engaged with. I feel like I should mention these things in this video as a way to relate to people that have made it this far and are still likely thinking, despite this, I just can't feel the way you do. Because I understand. CD has a strange learning curve that not everybody is able to adapt to, and that's perfectly fine. The only thing I don't like is when people will struggle with the game and proceed to claim the game has bad level design, because it simply doesn't. You can have whatever thought you want on the levels, I can't really shut that down. However, I also think it's a little silly to claim the game has bad level design simply because it doesn't click with you. But back to the main topic. Pretty much every single Sonic game in existence is based on this sort of time attack philosophy and personal goal. When you replay a Sonic game, you want to get better at it and beat the levels faster and faster, setting PRs every now and then. Even the games that are score attack based are actually time attack based, like SA2. I don't make the rules, that's just how it is. CD is different. While like any game, time attacking it and getting the quickest possible run is viable and fun, I think the difference is that this game is honestly more fun if you don't. Now, I'm not saying if you're not aiming for a personal record that you should be going like a snail's pace or anything. God no. However, coming from someone that pretty much exclusively replays Sonic games for setting PRs and time attack, I think it means something when a Sonic game exists that makes me not really want to do that. I'm not saying anything revolutionary here, but Sonic CD is a very exploratory game with the existence of these robot generators in each act acting as your way to a good future. You find them somewhere in the stage, break it, and then you secure a good future for that act. I'm sure you get the gist. However, I think these things are more important to the overall game than you might think. You see, while I think most people have attempted generator runs, I feel like they try it once and sort of just play the game quote-unquote normally afterwards, just trying to get to the end of each stage. By doing this, whether you realize it or not, you aren't really engaging with Sonic CD. By purposefully avoiding the robot generators, you end up not engaging with the game. It kind of irks me when people avoid them and then go on to say how they hate the game, because that's sorta your fault, man. Now, I understand why people avoid them. 100% completion isn't required for any other Sonic game for you to get the intended experience. It is very much something that's unique to Sonic CD alone, and that's why I usually give people the benefit of the doubt when not enjoying the game. However, it is imperative, in my opinion, that to truly get the Sonic CD experience, you need to do generator runs. And I know, I'll say it real quick, a generator run on your first playthrough can kind of suck. It can be annoying, I get it. However, through time, familiarizing yourself with these stages to some degree and memorizing the generator locations unlocks a new level of fun that no other Sonic game has, I feel. Familiarizing yourself with these levels is not actually hard because they're pretty short levels, easily the shortest out of any Sonic game. So while I hear people saying, do I really want to spend hours memorizing the generator locations so the game becomes bearable? I think that's a bit of a silly question, because it truly does not take long to familiarize yourself with these locations. This doesn't mean you have to memorize them. The game opens up considerably and gets way more fun within just one somewhat exploratory run of the game. This might not apply to everyone, but it did to me, and I think it could for most people. And the thing is, once you memorize the generators, well, that's it, right? I mean, I know how to beat the game the correct way every time, so what's the point? Remember earlier when I said that time attack in the game isn't really focused? Well, it sort of wraps back around to that. Even though you may know where the generators are, I find that CD, unlike every other Sonic game, is more about the journey rather than the destination when it comes to its levels. When you change your mindset about the game and play it differently from how you may play other Sonic games, you begin to realize just how genius this incarnation of Sonic is with its game and level design. A lot of my joy from CD comes from making my own fun, finding creative and interesting routes to the robot generators, and finding out the flashiest ways to make it to them. And because of how much the level design is, no two runs are particularly the same, which makes the journey to those robot generators and then to the goal different and interesting upon every subsequent playthrough. There's nothing more self-fulfilling than finding the coolest ways to make it across part of the level. Shit like this in Collision Chaos, where I effortlessly traverse this small section in a really cool way because I'm in tune with my environment and I'm aware of what seemingly random slopes can offer to me as a player, feel amazing. It's what I said earlier about needing to work with your environment and not against it. These levels are giving you the chance to feel that sense of freedom. You just need to be more aware of it. For the longest time, I saw that little slope on the ceiling and thought, nothing of it. If anything, I thought it was there just as decoration to make the environment look maybe a little more wacky or unorthodox, but no. As much as it may not seem like it or feel like it, nothing in this game's levels are random. That's a little hyperbole. There's maybe like 3, 4, 5% of bullshit in there, but genuinely, for the most part, nothing in here is random, and by acknowledging this and growing in sync with your environment, you're able to achieve a full and beautiful sense of freedom. One that no other Sonic game has ever even came close to. Frontiers, get the fuck out! You have spin dashing off of tilted slopes and flinging yourself places. That's not even close to an ounce of interesting environmental interaction CD has. Funny enough though, I think if anything, Frontiers 2 could deliver on this. If we get slope physics, which is the dream, that opens up so many unthinkable possibilities for traversal in an open zone. Think about how expressive and interesting CD is while being limited to short levels on a 2D plane. Imagine what could be done with the fucking full 3D open zone. All I'm saying is that this could be the last opportunity for Sonic Team to deliver my and many others' dream game. But until then, we're stuck with Sonic CD, and I can't really be mad at that. Sonic CD is a great game, and it always will be a great game. The level design is immaculate, and to this day, no other game has come close to it in terms of pure freedom. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to support me even more, you can join my Patreon, link in the description, for early access to videos. I'll see you all next time. Peace.
You feel tired, look at yourself.